Hey everybody, Nathan Lawrence here with LePage, and I'm sitting with Melissa Thompson, an awesome member of our team who's been here for quite a number of years, and we're going to have a chat today about Melissa, her experience in the market, how you got into the business in the first place, as well as some of your thoughts around the current market condition, what things are looking like, what buyers and sellers are dealing with right now. So Melissa, thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your journey into real estate. What started it?
Yeah, so I started in real estate about 13 years ago.
Okay.
LePage is my first and only that I'm brokerage that I'm going to be with. Love it. Everyone's like a family here. I love it so much. My realtor, I was looking for a house, and I wasn't a realtor yet. I was in nursing, and then my realtor is the one that said, "Yeah, I think you'd be good at it, and I think you should do your courses, and then once you're done, we could be a team." So I was really shy back then, so I said, "Okay, I could do it if I'm doing it with someone else." So I did that, did all the school, and I said, "Okay, I'm ready. Like, let's be a team." She's like, "No, there's no teams." And I was just like, "Oh my God, I'm on my own." So I met with Andrew, and that went really well. And I just kind of took off, and it was, yeah, rest is history.
Because how long's it been now?
13 years. It'll be 14 in November.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and I was 6 months pregnant when I started, and then I carried my little baby with me, doing like training and all that, and showings and everything, just made it work. So there was no option to fail.
What's some of the best parts about being in this industry?
Definitely the versatility of everything,
Okay.
and making your own schedule, but not also that, just like helping everybody, helping the clients.
Any particular memory or transaction that's like stood out with you in your mind as one of your favorite moments in this business?
I always love when you call the clients, and I love to like joke with them a little bit, and like say if they have an offer in, because I know how nerve-wracking it was myself when I was buying. So I'd be like, "Oh, so like you're calling them, they got the house," but I like to joke with them a little bit. Like, "Oh, okay, so you're gonna have to pack your bags because like you got it," and then they usually scream cry. So that's like my favorite, like because it keeps happening, right? So I get to kind of live through them a little bit doing that. And I remember when I was buying my first house, I was literally staring at my phone, just so nervous. So I know I'm trying to like lighten it up a little bit. Yeah, just doing that like just helps the whole vibe.
If you were to summarize what some of the biggest emotional challenges a client goes through, what would that look like?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that, as a client, on maybe the buyer side, and actually both on the seller side as well,
Mm-hmm.
what's your perception of the experience they go through?
Definitely the first house they go see, they're super nervous. The first offer they put in, they're super nervous. They are putting all their trust in you, so you have to be like super trustworthy, and you have to build that trust with them. So the challenges of just even making sure their financing is all done and they're all prepared and everything like that, because you never know. Home inspections are super nerve-wracking as well. You never know what's going to come up, how big or little. Even just the little things they get a little nervous with, of how am I going to fix this, or can it be repaired, or how much is it going to cost? So first time home buyers are always like a ball of nerves, but I love it because it's like I'll hold your hand the whole time. So
So what do you do to coach them through?
constant reassurance.
Okay.
And then if this doesn't happen, like we could do something this, or if this is not the house for you, maybe we can just find something else that fits you better and makes you feel more nervous. I always say too, like when you go into a house and you're in a showing, like you feel it, you know if this is like the one for you. So just always like keep that in mind, and then don't rush, because everyone wants to rush to get in the house in like a month or two, and sometimes that's just not feasible.
Okay. What about the seller side of things? What's that emotional experience, that roller coaster like for them?
Yeah, yeah, it depends. Sometimes it's very transactional, like they've done it a bunch of times, they don't really have too much emotion with it, but it's usually like the people that have been in their house for 30 plus years and they're very attached to it, and then they get emotional with who's going to have their home after them, if they even want to sell. Like there's all sorts of different emotions. I'm dealing with that right now with one lady. She's been in her house since 1982, and she's moving out of province, so she's just in a whirlwind of,
It's a big change.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
big change.
Mhm.
And I think both buyers and sellers, they don't necessarily understand the work involved sometimes
I
in
always
that
joke.
move. I think we underestimate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always joke too. It's like they're always trying to declutter, and they say, "How do I get so much stuff?" And I always say, "You bring it one bag in at a time, and then it just keeps accumulating." And yeah, so
You got to bring it all out at once.
yeah, exactly, or donate it, whatever. But yeah, it's a big job, and I think that is very underestimated.
Okay.
Yeah, especially with older people, because it's very overwhelming. So
Yeah.
kind of getting those resources to try and help them, or personally helping them is always good help, and they appreciate it.
Okay. So let's talk about the market right now. It's we're a few years into what's been a pretty strong sellers market.
Yeah, since 2020.
And it doesn't really feel like it's changing.
No.
No. So what are your thoughts?
Well, since 2020, it was started to kind of peak with sellers, and then it just has kept getting, I don't want to say worse, but it's just very, very competitive. Like 12 offers sometimes on some houses, and that's like 100,000 over, which we're not used to seeing in Thunder Bay. In like other markets, that might be their norm, but we don't really like to do that.
Yeah.
But we have such a shortage of housing, and way too many buyers, and that's kind of just the problem. So the competition is just crazy.
So when you're working with buyers right now, let's say we're working in that sub $550,000 price point. What are you coaching them through? What is that experience for them going to look like? How are you setting their expectations so that when you start to work with them, they kind of understand what they're getting into? What's that look like?
Yeah, everyone's different, but most people, they come into thinking they're going to buy a house within a week or two, and they might put offers in, but you might not win. So you have to kind of just let the time go by for them to just get the feel of it, so that their nerves can come down as well. But also just reassuring them that, there's many more houses that are going to come, especially in the spring. Like as soon as the snow melts, then we get lots more sellers, which is nice. But again, you still have all those buyers. If you have 12 offers on one house, there's still 11 buyers looking, right, for the same thing. So just have to keep like their positive spirit and
Yeah, so you're working with a buyer, they find the house they're interested in, they want to put in an offer. How are you coaching them to prep that offer? Like, what are the things in the back of your mind that that buyer needs to be thinking about going into a potential offer situation? And how does it change when there's no competing offers versus a situation where you're walking into maybe one or 10 other offers going in at the same time on the property?
Yeah, it's very situational from house to house. If it's an estate sale, you might have to handle that differently. If it's just a family and they're moving, they're upsizing, that might be different. Like the motivation of the seller could be based on money, or it could be based on like they want someone specific to go into their home. So you always have to look at all that. Always sending them the seller property information sheet so that they are well educated with the property, and then they can decide if they want to do a home inspection or not. Add in financing always if they're getting a mortgage. Looking at comparables and showing them comparables as well, just to kind of give a price range of where it might land for sales. But then how many offers you get is a huge factor.
Okay. So let's talk about conditions for a second. So you mentioned home inspection, you mentioned financing. There's also sort of your trifecta of the main three. You've got insurance in there as well. Buyers sometimes feel like they need to go in without conditions for their offer to be attractive. But what do those conditions really mean? What are those conditions doing for that buyer?
Protection, for sure.
Okay.
Especially if you're getting a mortgage, because yes, you have to get approved, but the house does too. And a lot of people think, well, I'm approved for, or I'm pre-approved for, say, 100,000 more than what we're going in at, so we should be okay to do a cash offer. But you have to remember that the house has to get approved too. So that is super important. Obviously, finance or home inspection and insurance. Insurance, especially if there's fireplaces and stuff like that too, the rate could go up more than they can afford. So you have to also kind of look at everything. Home inspections are great to have. Gives you kind of almost like a checklist of things that you have to do too, like if you do proceed with the sale, just to protect your home in general.
And more often than not, do you find that a client that's come in prepared with, a pre-approval in place and a good understanding of the home they're stepping into, they've looked at that SPIS form, they've kind of looked at those disclosures. Do you find that those conditions, kill a deal all that often?
I would say a year or two ago, there were a lot more cash offers than there are now.
Okay.
Financing is very common now, and I think it's just for the protection base, which is nice because there's nothing worse than presenting, say, offers on my seller's house, and there's 5 cash offers, but you know that they're getting a mortgage, so you counter them back with the financing condition just as protection for all buyers and sellers. But yeah, it's nice to see that there's not as many offers with no conditions compared to with conditions. Home inspection, I don't see too many on there anymore, but they're still there, and okay. Yeah, sellers are still receptive to that.
So you're working with a buyer, they pick up the phone and they think, I'm going to call a Royal LePage agent and I'm going to call Melissa. Mm-hmm. What is sort of the first bits of advice that you give that buyer that helps them get as prepared as possible for when you start looking at homes and eventually putting in offers?
Yeah, number one is getting pre-approved for sure, just so that they're not like shopping beyond their budget, because then they can have these expectations or their wants, and it's maybe a price point up here and they have to be kind of here. Definitely that number one. Second of all, like, have you seen anything online that has caught your eye, so that I can kind of get a feel for what they're looking for, and then what's most important to you. Is it like bedrooms? Does it need a garage? Kind of just kind of get to know them there, and then sometimes they kind of broaden their horizons of where, especially like sides of town, north side versus south side. Like sometimes you talk to them, they're like north side only, and then
typical Thunder Bay debate.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's just like, never mind, just open it up to the city, Okay.
Okay. So let's flip the conversation. We go from buyers to sellers. So you get that phone call, somebody's thinking, I need to sell my house, life change, whatever that looks like, upgrade, downgrade, move out of town. What is your process with working with a seller? What do you do to help them through that process?
So yeah, clearly see what their motive is and what their plan is, okay. And then help them with that plan. And then go in, take a look, give them a price, say, maybe remove some stuff here or move stuff over there, declutter a bit, like give them advice on like what would boost their value even more. It could be something simple. It could be something more extreme. How big do they want to go with it? Like sometimes they say, I want to renovate my bathroom before listing or whatever. It could be anything. Do you think it's worth it? So I kind of always guide them on what's worth their time and what's not.
So what are some of the easy wins that a seller could do when you're getting
Decluttering, number one, okay. Because it's nice to just see a blank space or just bigger space. Second to that, something simple as paint. Is just freshens it up nicely. Get a good clean. Make the curb appeal look really cute, even if that's just a couple potted plants or a wreath on the door too, because buyers are going to judge your house within the first 3 seconds, so you have to catch their eye.
And then you get to the point, you've walked them through the coaching, and then there's obviously the sit down, go through the paperwork side of things. So when you're prepping the physical listing, what are you doing? What is the client going to expect? You're going to have to go to the house and you're going to do your walkthrough. What does that include?
Yeah, walkthrough, do measurements of every room, take pictures. I always hire a professional photographer just to make sure that the house is showcased the best it can be.
Yeah.
And then again, like give little tips and whatnot. Make sure you change your furnace filter and all that just to kind of refresh everything. If there's any rentals or anything, disclose that. Get all the the years of like the shingles, the furnace, anything like big mechanical that way. If they have any fireplaces, want some like wet certificates or any kind of manuals or anything that goes with that. And just kind of have it all ready so that the buyers are super prepared and they know what to expect with the house.
Okay, so photos are done. You've got listing paperwork signed, and let's say listing goes live in a week. What are you doing behind the scenes between that point to listing day?
Prepping all my marketing and whether you get like a video done or not, but just kind of getting all your socials ready, reaching out to clients, saying, hey, I have this listing coming up I think you'd be interested in, and then obviously talking to your colleagues about it as well. but not listing it before 72 hours. Got to keep in the rules of when your coming soon post could be, but
Yeah, because there are guidelines around
yeah,
when those things can be posted, right?
yeah,
And we can't begin to market a property uh, in any way
mhm,
until we're within 3 days of it going live on the
correct,
MLS system.
yeah,
And I think the reason there is really it's about getting that property out there as best as possible once it's
mhm,
listed, so that you're
mhm,
getting as much traffic through that house
yeah,
as you possibly can.
mhm,
So let's say you're listing a property in that, that sweet spot right now, that competitive market range in
yeah.
that sort of, 250 to 550 range. Property goes live. What can a seller potentially expect to deal with?
First thing I say is there somewhere you could go? Because there's probably going to be a lot of showings. Sometimes we're seeing upwards of like 40 showings
Yeah.
on a property, right? So
And they're
that's
half an hour each.
that's a lot of
Yeah.
time. So I like this one listing I have coming up. I said to the lady, "Do you have any family or friends in town that you could maybe just go hang out with, when there's the really busy times?" And that's usually like after work, so 4:30 and onwards. But yeah, so just prepare them for that. Sometimes it's if they're going out of town, even better, just so that you can
Yep.
have kind of like free range of the place, because sometimes you're getting showings from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, and it's a lot for them, especially if they have pets or children.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then what's that offer process look like? Let's assume you've made the decision to hold off offers and do an offer presentation on a certain day with the intent of kind of getting as many people through that property as possible.
Hmm.
What does the offer presentation look like? What are you walking them
Yeah,
through?
I sellers are always super antsy to know like how many offers they're getting, and I don't like to tell them like too early because the numbers fluctuates. It can go up or down.
Yeah.
So I just say like everything's okay. Like we have a handful of offers. We're gonna be good, just so that they can calm those nerves. But I don't want to say we have 10 and then it drops to 8 or 12, right?
Well, we see it where buyers will decide they want to write and then
Yeah.
change their
Yeah.
mind,
Say too much
decide again,
competition.
change
Yeah.
their mind,
Exactly.
end up writing.
Yeah.
So it can fluctuate right
Yeah.
up until the
Right.
time that those offers are due.
Yeah. So then I just print them all off and sit with the client, and I just go over them one by one and make notes on the side too, so it's
Okay.
easy to refer back to. And then we have our kind of not gonna revisit this, might, and these are really good.
So
I
what are
make
some of
piles.
the key aspects of that offer that you're going through with that client?
Price, closing date, conditions,
Okay.
any other letters. Some sellers really like letters, and then others it doesn't matter too much to them.
Okay.
So it's very situational there, but definitely the price and conditions and closing date are very important to sellers.
Okay. And then offers accepted. What does that look like for the seller from that point to closing?
Instant relief, I would say. Especially if they had like a cash offer and it sold that day,
Okay.
they're instantly just relieved. But then if you have to do financing, and that could take a week, or home inspection, that could take a week. So then just remind them that we do need the time to go into the house for about 2 hours or so to do a home inspection, and we'll let them know when the buyer would like to do that. And then just kind of hold tight until the financing and all that is all done. And in the meantime, think about a lawyer that you'd like to use and maybe a moving company, and just kind of get in that process of in the mindset of, okay, that's happening now. If they're buying something else, then we have to say, okay, now, we have this offer. It's all stuff on me. I'm like, okay, now what do I have to do? We have this offer now. Now I need to go, do a notice of fulfillment on the house that they're purchasing or whatnot, or find them something. Every situation is so different, and that's another reason why I love real estate, because it's every day is different. You don't have the same 2 days or situations, and you think that it's just you're constantly doing the same thing, writing offers, showing houses, writing offers, showing. No, there's so much more behind the scenes that people don't even realize.
Most people don't see it, right?
Yeah.
They see the sign go up. They see the social posts, they see the advertising, the marketing,
Hmm.
but they don't see the work, sometimes the weeks and months worth of
Hmm.
work leading up to when you secured that listing, and then all the work that happens behind the scenes,
Hmm.
compliance wise, paperwork wise, that you have to do
Yeah.
to get that deal across the finish line.
Yeah.
It's a lot sometimes.
Yeah, or if there's a little issue that comes up and you're trying to put out fires and nobody knows, like just trying to keep everything calm and smooth. But yeah, it's a lot more than most think. And I had a client call me and she says, "Geez, you're always busy. Like you're always doing something." And I said, "I never stop." But I love that. I love that. I'm always like a busybody. So if I wasn't doing anything, I think it would be strange. But yeah, no, it's very very different, and I don't think there's any career like it.
That's true.
hmm
So let's talk about some myths about realtors. Is there anything that you feel like people or clients in general have some misconceptions about us in the industry or what we do and help them with? Like, is there anything that jumps out?
Just the first thing that comes to mind is as a buyer, you don't pay your realtor, and a lot of people don't know that. The sellers pay, right? So even when before I started, I thought you had to pay a realtor, so I didn't use one because I was like thinking I already have to do the down payment. What do I can't afford a realtor, and I was really young. But yeah, that is number one, I would say. Most people, and people ask me that all the time, like how much do I owe you or how much do you charge for your services? So that's a thing that I love to just try and get out there. So usually when someone messages me too, just to say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house, and I'd like to work with you. I always mention it too because it's kind of an awkward question to ask, right? So I always mention it, and then they're like, "Oh, I didn't know that. Like, thank you so much for telling me." So
And I think people don't always realize that when you're working with a buyer and you've sat down and kind of done that sort of first buyer meeting, talk to them about what those expectations are, what you're going to do to provide them services, and you get to the point where you review a buyer representation agreement and you sign that buyer representation agreement, people don't know the importance of that document. They don't understand that it puts you into a contractual obligation to look after the buyer's best interests.
yes, yeah, yeah, and that's very true. And then sometimes too, buyers think that they can just hop around, but we have to just zone them back in and just say like, listen, you agreed to work with me, so like let's just stick together. Like don't feel like you're bothering me on weekends because that's what they think. They're gonna just message the listing agent because they think they're bothering me, and I'm like, bother me. Like this is my job. So
Yeah, we're
definitely.
used to it, especially
Yeah.
this time of year in the
Yeah.
busy season, right?
Yeah.
We're used to that phone ringing. We're used to those late
Absolutely.
night text messages.
Yeah.
That's the norm, right?
Yeah.
That's
I
the
used to reply to emails at 2 a.m.
it's the career we love,
Yeah.
right? We oftentimes thrive off of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
enjoy that quick pace
Yeah.
and being able to support them through that
Yeah.
whole process.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, any sort of closing thoughts or the things that we haven't talked about that you're thinking about real estate wise that where the market's going, some of the things you're doing right now to help
Mhm.
clients or sellers or um, any good stories you wanna share?
Yeah, well, I would just say too, a lot of people's hesitation on like jumping into the market at a certain time. They're kind of timing the market for when things slow down or interest rates get better, whatever. There's no better time than like today,
Yeah.
because when a year goes by, you're saying, "Oh, I should have bought 1 year ago or 5 years ago or whatever it is." So just kind of like start dabbling, get your feet wet, talk to someone, make sure you connect with that person. Like your realtor should almost be your friend, by the end of it, because
Well, that's the point, especially on the buyer side, but also on the seller side. Why it's important to choose who you're working with.
mm-hmm.
Make sure you've got a good rapport with them. Make sure you've got that connection and that feeling of trust between them
Absolutely.
because they're gonna help coach you through that whole buying
Mm-hmm.
process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like getting to know your clients is one of my favorite parts. Getting to know who they are and what their needs are and what their goals are and aspirations are, because working with one dedicated realtor allows you as the realtor to become more aware each and every time and each and every interaction of what's important, what matters,
Mm-hmm.
and you're constantly watching
Yeah,
for things
exactly.
that are going to potentially fit what they're looking
Yeah,
for and also help them understand why something might not be the right fit
exactly.
depending on what they're looking
Yeah,
for.
and they appreciate that too, because then they don't have to take the time out of their day to go see a house that you already know is
Yeah.
not going to be a good fit. So they have to just trust you with that as well, right?
Yeah, and trust is important.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you're
like one of my number one compliments is Melissa is very knowledgeable and very trustworthy, and that like fills my heart. It's like I like that because that's like I'm glad you do. You know.
Melissa, thank you so much
Yeah.
for taking the time to chat and to sit down and kind of go through this. And we're looking forward to
Much
doing more of this.
appreciated.
Yeah.
Thanks. Exciting.